Oh, I keep forgetting the music.
Wah, wah.
Wah, wah. Good morning.
Good morning,
Or good afternoon or evening.
wherever you are, and whatever time you're watching, whether you're watching live or on the replay.
It's
the
time
RANT.
for a radically affirmative new thought. And, as we were just discussing, it really is a time for a radically affirmative new thought.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Let's
Well, first
wake
of all, I
up.
want to acknowledge the fact that there's a different angle.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Acknowledge.
I got a new computer. The way I've had to set it up, it was different from my old computer. Anyway, it's a whole thing, and here I am now.
Yes.
Whole new angle.
Whole new angle.
Yeah. But it's also, I want to acknowledge, if I start looking over here, it's because that's actually where my computer screen is and my camera's over here. So I apologize if I seem to be looking away.
I'm the same way. Screen's over there, camera's over here. But I can see you. I can see you if I look this way, so that's okay.
Yeah, and I can see you if I look this way. And
Yeah.
Lillian, hello.
Hello. Welcome. Come on in.
So we were chatting. I'm going to launch right into it.
Yeah.
Because we were chatting right before we went live about what's been happening, and I want to start off by saying something that I like to remind myself of, and that is when we talk about the relationship of spirituality and politics, and we're going to talk a little bit about politics today. I want to remind people that Jesus was political.
Yes.
Jesus was political. Spiritual people are political. What we endeavor to do is to not be partisan.
Mm-hmm.
And Jesus was political, but he was not partisan. And there's something that happened, and this is why I want to talk about this, because right before we started, there's a whole process that Steph and I go through when we launch the RANT. First of all, we come on a half hour early, we talk a little bit, and then we turn our cameras off to launch the opening video and all of that. And while that was happening, there's like a whole full minute where we don't have our cameras or microphones on. Anyway, all that to say that what I got to is there was this video that was released of the Episcopal bishop at the National Cathedral in Washington, and her call for mercy and compassion to the now president of the United States. And there's been such a backlash in kind of unfortunate ways that that has been really challenging for me to see. Now, I say this because what I realized is, and I'm going to say this, if mercy and compassion, if you deem mercy and compassion as political, partisan, I'm just going to call it out. You're on the wrong side of history. So that's where I'm starting today, because it's really very, very prevalent in my mind. If mercy and compassion you deem as partisan, you are on the wrong side of history.
Yeah.
I don't know. So I leave it to you now to see how you want to respond to
I don't even know, because I cannot comprehend a lack of compassion. Like that. I don't understand how people can treat other people poorly. And I can only know myself, right? I only know myself. And I know that I show up as the best I can every single day. And so I've had this thought just this past week. If you don't like me, it's probably because you don't even know me. And you're just telling stories about something that's already inside of you, already a perceived notion, already an expectation that you are weaving a story in. Because I'm kind, I'm compassionate, I'm loving, I'm joy-filled, I'm humorous, I'm all these beautiful things that I haven't always been. I grew into myself. And so I also have described myself as an angry monk, because what everybody gets to see out here is, but what's inside of me is, it a lot of times is um, an angry monk, because I believe everyone deserves love, is worthy of love, is worthy of compassion, is worthy of receiving all of this good in their lives. I believe that. And then I see stuff that's going on, or I hear about things, and it's not even out there, it's macro, micro, right? That we see it on a global scale right now, but there are people having miniature episodes, right, of their own sitcoms and their own shows. So there's a lack of compassion out here in the world that we are seeing right now, but this is where we are. We're right here. And so compassion, mercy, those are, I mean, compassion is an easier word for me to understand than mercy. So it is a struggle for me to see people suffering. I'm a highly sensitive, empathic, vibrational tuning fork that feels everything that's going on, not just sees it.
Yeah.
So, I think I even said it on Wake Up, Say Thank You this morning. We can be doing better.
We absolutely can.
We can be doing better. Absolutely.
You know, I did a post that's gotten a lot of response on Facebook earlier in the week, basically calling, you know, and I won't go into the whole post, but basically what it said is, my initial impulse was to leave Facebook because of what I perceived to be happening with that platform. And I thought, no, that's not what I want to do. What I want to do is I want to flood the space. I want to flood the space with love, with kindness. I want to flood the space with compassion. I want to flood the space with messages of mercy. I want to flood the space. And then the other thing that I pointed out, there's kind of a joke that happens in social media, and this joke plays out a lot on TikTok. But it's kind of a joke in the kind of psyche of our culture right now. And that is, you know, you've got the boomer generation, and you've got the gen, what is the millennials? I'm like, and they're, you know, at odds, but in between the boomers and the millennials, of course, is Gen X. And everybody's saying, don't poke the bear. Don't poke Gen X. Don't wake them up, because you will not like what you find. And one of the things I wrote in this post is, it is time for Gen X to wake up from its slumber and to actually step forth in action. We cannot afford to sit back anymore and allow the absence of compassion and kindness and mercy to take its grip in this world. And it is doing that, but we are a solid force, I think, that is not active in the way that I would love to see the activity. That's me. Yeah. So Audrey is confused. What is unconditional love versus behavior? It's exactly that. Unconditional love can guide your behavior, but it is not a behavior in and of itself. It is an inner impulse. It is an inner idea. And when we live from the frame of mind of unconditional love, I think that our behavior must act accordingly. That's just me. But there are many people who do not understand themselves as the expression of the impression of love upon itself. And so their behavior contradicts that idea. And oftentimes the behavior contradicts that idea because they're looking to dominate or to say that there's a hierarchical structure. There is no hierarchical structure in infinite truth. The hierarchy is simply a construct that we have collectively decided exists, unless we've unless we reject that notion. I choose to reject that notion.
Mm-hmm.
Because no one has dominance or authority over me. I am the single person who has authority over myself. Aren't we the children of light, radiating love to all? That's a choice.
Only if we are.
Only if we are. That's a choice. I don't know that everybody collectively believes that.
I'm teaching Discover Your Divinity right now. We're on week 3, and so
I was going to go look for my book, and I realized, I gave it to a friend. I don't have a copy of it right now.
And so I went off on a little rant last night about how I choose not to use child as an identifier when in regards to the divine.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a co-creator more than I am a child, because for me personally, being a child of something, I feel like I give away my power in a sense, because a child has a bedtime and allowance, and like there's that experience. Whereas if I'm a companion, the divine is my companion or my partner. Right. It's a different feeling for me, and I totally understand. Like so many people love and feel that warm embrace of being a child of God, a child of the divine, a child of the light. I totally get that. For me, it doesn't. I don't. It doesn't bring me strength. Well, and I want to feel strong.
Yeah, well, the relationship oftentimes of children with their parents is the parent is the authority figure, right? Mm-hmm. And I don't perceive God as an authority figure.
That's right.
And so the metaphor doesn't work for me either. Mm-hmm. I agree. We are companions with infinite presence.
Yeah.
And we are the fullness of us is infinite presence, expressing and expanding and flowing, and if we are in alignment with that identity, mm-hmm. then I believe that we actually experience magnificence in our lives. I will say I've been challenged in that this week, because it's been a hard week for me. As I was saying, we're 4 days into this new administration, and it feels like it's been 10 years.
Yeah.
That's just me. And I want to say that I don't blame the actors in the administration, because I don't want to go into a state of blame. What I know is that I am responsible for my well-being. So I'm doing the inner work for myself, mm-hmm. and I don't need to be adversely affected by the external circumstances. What that does not mean is that I give over and become a doormat to those external circumstances. I choose to be guided by love into action, mm-hmm. in what is going to be most supportive of the unified wholeness, because we collectively make up the unified wholeness of infinite divine presence. Yeah. That's who and what we are. Yeah.
Yeah. There is a collective consciousness that is unfolding. And if we're, I often have used this metaphor as a bright light. I'm a kid from the 80s. I'm a Gen Xer, a kid from the 80s. So I had a light bright, and you can put all the lights in and make your own pictures and things like that. But so if the whole world is like, if consciousness is the light bright, I'm only responsible for this one little light. And if I plug it in and it doesn't work, then I need to look at this one little light. I don't need to look at this whole grand light bright picture. Mm-hmm. Just right where I am. How do I brighten my own light? How do I love and accept myself unconditionally? Because mm-hmm. if I can't love someone else unconditionally, it's because I'm still learning that for myself.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a collective thing. Or another way of saying it is like there's a vessel that's filled with murky water, and as long as we are putting one droplet of clean, pure water into that, eventually this whole vessel will be clean and clear. And that's collective consciousness. I don't have to be responsible to change anyone else's mind. I only get to be responsible and accountable for my own thinking. Whether it's limiting or limitless, that's up to me.
Can I make a suggestion though?
Mm-hmm.
Let's not perceive it as putting a drop in at a time. Let's flood the space.
Flood it.
Because a drop at a time, we do live in the construct of time and space, and that feels way too slow to me. I want to flood the space with compassion, mercy, love, and kindness.
That's why we do this.
It is. Even though today, admittedly, it's quite reactionary. I am in a state of reactive frame of mind. I'm going to call myself out on that. And I'm working through it. I'm working through it based in principle. And one of the things is I actually did decide, like, I'm not going to allow myself to just be angry at the news every day. I cannot live with that frame of mind for the next 4 years. So even if I do happen to stumble upon watching some information that comes out through the media, however it shows up, the news media, I'm not going to allow myself to go down the road of getting angry about it. What I do know is that I am empowered in every moment to be the presence of love. And when I do that, it's we did the white stone ceremony here on the last Sunday of 2024, and I've taken it to heart that I like to do this white stone ceremony. And if you don't know what the white stone ceremony is, basically we have these stones, right, that we order, and actually we can't order them anymore because the company that supplies them has discontinued their business. I ordered 1,000 stones, so we at least have some stones for the next couple of years here. But we go through a meditation contemplation process in the white stone ceremony that is meant to bring to mind the word that will become essentially what we call your name, your word. And when we talk about word, we're talking about the impulse of activity and action. And so you give yourself a name, and then you imprint it upon the stone, and everybody gets a stone before the service, and everybody gets a marker before the service so that they can participate. And the word that came up for me this year actually surprised me because I was not, it's one of the things I'm like, I think I know what my word might be. And then like I go through the process and like another word presents itself and I'm like, oh, that's unexpected. But this was my word.
Freedom.
Yeah. Is it backwards for you?
No, we can see it.
Because I just realized it's backwards for me.
Modest.
No wonder.
It's fine.
But what is freedom? I think that then begs the question, what is freedom? And how would you answer that, Steph?
I just answered that on Wake Up Say Thank You this morning. The true essence of freedom is that it's right here. Freedom lives inside of your mind. It is your consciousness. It is your ability to be aware of that freedom, to be to know that no one else, there is no one else, not on paper, not in policy, no one else can make me anything. I am free to choose how I'm going to show up today, how I'm going to think about things, how I'm going to express myself. I am at choice. And in that choice, that's freedom. That's the essence of freedom. I can be shackled to old ideas, and it is my own mind that will release me from that experience that binds me. I'm the consciousness that bound me. I'm the consciousness that unbinds me.
You bring up a couple words that I had a chat with somebody recently about these words, and and they gave me a new perspective on how to consider these words.
Mm.
If you were to try to differentiate, and I just want to see what comes up for you, if you were to differentiate between choice and decision, how would you distinguish those two words as ideas?
Mm. That's a great question.
And part of it comes up for me because one of my favorite books
is the
I
power
talk
of
about it all the time.
decision.
You cannot deny it is one of my favorite books.
Yeah.
One of my favorite books of all time is The Power of Decision.
Yes.
And I started thinking it was not called The Power of Choice,
Mm-hmm,
Power of
mm-hmm,
Decision.
mm-hmm.
And so how would you differentiate between
Yeah.
the notion of choice and decision?
Well, decision is an affirmative action towards something you had a choice in.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That like there's choices infinite. There's infinite choices. There's finite decisions because I can only act in a finite way through this body in a sense, right? Like it's decision is affirmative action that I have chosen to take based on multiple choices, because it's not a decision. Like, I guess everything. Yeah, this is a great question. Decision, because everything is a decision. I decide whether or not I'm going to brush my teeth every day. Like so there's always a decision to be made, yes or no. But choice, there's often in my thought about the word choice means there's choices out there. There's choices for me to partake in, and I would make a decision based on what's available to me.
I think we're going to get into semantics here.
Yeah, for sure. Let's do it.
Because I hear you. And the way that it was kind of presented to me, and I actually totally agree with this, is that a decision differs from a choice in that a decision actually is a considered movement.
Mm-hmm.
What I mean by that is oftentimes we just make choices like flipping a coin, and we don't really consider that.
Yes.
And so it is simply just A or B. There's no consideration in that. But what are the considerations around how might this play out? How might this show up in my life? How might my life be enhanced or not through this choice?
Yeah.
Then I'm in the process of making decisions.
I totally see that. Like I totally see that. And I find like the power, when we think about the power of decision, is that considered movement for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Because a choice for me is what's for dinner.
Mm-hmm.
But a decision is, how are we going to pay for our new brakes? We need to research. We need to call in. We need, there's a decision. Who is, like, a decision is a more thought out process.
Yeah.
That feels like it wasn't a choice. It was a choice for me to start something. It's a decision for me to end it. Like, I don't like, there's just, semantics.
Like I say, we're getting into semantics, and I totally expected that to happen. Because I would say that what you decide to have for dinner can be a choice or a decision.
Mm-hmm.
I can choose to have pizza for dinner.
Yeah.
Love pizza.
I love pizza.
Just to be totally clear. But if I'm considering the nutritional aspects of that choice and making a determination whether or not that is in my best interest or not, that's the decision-making process.
Yeah.
And so what is a more and I think what this all boils down to is if we start to look at those constructs, how might we put them into action in our lives in constructive ways? I think that from that point of view, the way that I've defined it, and you get to define it however you want. I mean, you could just as easily say in many ways, oh, I could swap those definitions. It's really about the underlying tone. Doesn't matter the words we use. But if we're in the state of consideration, then we're actually empowered, as opposed to just making a choice, not finding the power within that choice, and just allowing life to unfold willy-nilly. with the idea that, oh, I made the choice now, this is what's going to happen. And, I didn't really consider that choice. So I think it may be stronger to actually live in the state of mind of decision making, to really live considering what the consequences might be, not to get lost in it, but to say, what do I think might be most constructive here for my life? Be a decision maker. That's really what I want to say. Be a decision maker. Be someone who actively engages, not just passively allows. Ooh, there we go. Actively engage, don't passively allow. All right.
Don't mind me, everybody. I'm just taking notes. I hope you are.
And if you aren't, you can always watch it again because all the videos are archived.
Oh, thank goodness for that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. Freedom. What it all started with.
Living in the freedom.
Freedom Friday. What's coming up for all y'all?
Yes.
Because I'm interested to see it. So let's see. In my studies, does A Course in Miracles say that all events are neutral? I wonder if others are being challenged as I am. In my studies.
So in Audrey's studies, does ACIM say all events are neutral? I haven't studied the A Course in Miracles, so I can't answer that question.
Yeah. So let me ask you, if you're studying A Course in Miracles, Audrey, is that what A Course in Miracles says?
Yes. I would love to know.
I wonder if others are being challenged as I am. Are you being challenged? The truth is, and I actually hold to this idea. I would hold to the idea that events are neutral. They only have the meaning that we give them.
That's right. That would be oneness.
Yeah. And that is, even though A Course in Miracles is not necessarily considered part of the New Thought paradigm, we have corollaries, and we're very much in alignment with A Course in Miracles and the teachings of A Course in Miracles. But to say that events are neutral is very much in alignment with New Thought, because
yes,
nothing has meaning except the meaning we give it.
Right. We teach there is nothing good or bad, but thinking makes it so.
Thank you, William Shakespeare.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, William Shakespeare.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when I think that's our biggest challenge is to learn how to see every situation as neutral so that we can make better choices and make better decisions.
Yeah.
For ourselves, right? Sure. Like if I am the flamethrower on any drama that has ever shown up in my life. I have been the one who's been like, well, let's add some fire to that. Let's add some heat to that. Can
I just say though, before you go on anymore, yeah. I'm having a little bit of a personal challenge, and this is the meaning that I give to this. I'm having a little bit of a personal challenge with the metaphor of fire, just because what has unfolded in LA, which is I lived there a quarter of my life, and so
heat. Can I use heat?
But it is a neutral idea until I gave it meaning. See, I'm actually demonstrating exactly what we're talking about.
Right. Yeah. So here, like I turn up the heat. It's neutral, like an oven. An oven doesn't cook anything until we turn it on.
Yeah.
Right. So it's that same thing. What are we turning on in our lives? What are we doing? How are we turning it on? Because when we show up there, like, a book is a book. It has pages. Life is life. It has breaths, and what we give it is our own perception, our own experience. So everybody's being challenged today. Woo!
The two things I have to tell you, when you were talking about ovens, and they don't they don't cook anything until you turn up the heat. I started thinking about, because I'm a Gen Xer, the Easy Bake Oven, very much a part of my childhood. And the joke that goes around sometimes that says, "Oh, the cookies that I started making in my Easy Bake Oven in 1976 are just about ready." But
Well, that's a 48-year-old cookie because I don't have to do the math. That was the year I was born.
Yeah. But a book in and of itself does nothing.
Yeah.
The words within the book have no meaning
Mm-hmm.
until they are experienced through the process of reading by someone. And the meaning that I impart from that book is going to be independent of the meaning that you impart from that book. They might be similar, but we are the ones who give it meaning.
Yes.
So yes,
Yeah.
everything is neutral until we give it meaning.
Until we give it meaning.
That's really what it boils down to.
And even the like you said, the last 4 days has felt like 10 years.
Mm-hmm. For me.
For you.
But I'm giving it that meaning.
Yeah, the like having extraordinary faith in times like this is vitally important to our spiritual well-being.
Yeah.
Because no matter what it looks like, there is an undercurrent of divine intelligent presence that knows greater than I could possibly ever. Because I can only take in all that I can take in.
Can I challenge you on that?
Yeah, for sure. You can always challenge me.
You've now given that intelligence meaning.
Of course I have.
And you've given it volition. But aren't we the volitionary expressions of it?
It is a stopless, infallible flow of presence. There's nothing.
What is that? Okay, I'm going to challenge you on that. What does that even mean? What does that mean? You're using words.
Intelligent presence?
Yeah. What does that mean? Aha. See what happened?
There's a power in the universe greater than I am. And I can use it. I am not the entire power. I have the capacity and potentiality to use that power and to direct it and to flow. Life is happening whether I'm involved in it or not. And so as an intelligent presence that has somehow placed the earth like no other thing, as far as we can measure so far, you've asked me, so I'm defining.
Mm-hmm.
So in that, if the earth was 1 degree less or more in a gravitational pull, we would not exist. For me, that is an undertone of intelligence that I can't fathom. Because I am like, do these socks match? Do I have to wear matching socks? So there's an intelligence that I can't even understand fully as a human being, as I try to grasp it. I study, I contemplate, I meditate, I pray. I use that power to direct my life. I use that intelligent presence to have something tangible in my life. I create substance into form, just like that divine power and presence. So no matter what's happening, whether I exist or not, whether I'm present for it or not, there is something happening that is measured by human beings as time and space. So whether or not I perceive good or bad is happening, something is happening. Something is happening. We give it all meaning. So intelligent presence is unexplainable. Just like how we try to define the word God by using other words. It's undescribable. And yet we're always trying to define it. Right? And I mean, right here in this book, I'm sure it's highlighted.
I have to look over to see what book you're looking at.
Mm-hmm. 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 I don't know where it is, but it.
So.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I think the word that I'm really stuck on is the adjective that you're using. I think it's just presence. I don't think I want to define it as intelligent presence, because that is endowing it with what we perceive to be a human quality. And I think it is simply presence. Its nature is constructive. I believe that. But when we start talking, and you know, I get it. I've read all the books. I can understand a point of view around calling it intelligent presence, but I think sometimes that limits it too much.
Well, we definitely know what unintelligent looks like.
Well, yeah, because it's demonstrating itself all around us. You know, but if it was an intelligent presence, why does it allow the capacity for unintelligent expression?
Because it's not something that can allow or not allow.
So where's the intelligence in that?
It is presence.
Exactly.
So yeah, it is definitely some semantics of and preference for sure. But I don't know, like the word allow. Oh. God does not allow me to do anything. I'm free. I am free. I was born free. So there's no allowing. God is not allowing us to do stupid things. We're making stupid choices because of our limited thinking. So yeah.
But I think then the thing that we need to be careful of is that does not necessarily support the implication that God is intelligent presence. God is simply presence. We are the ones who express intelligence or a lack of intelligence as the incarnations of this presence.
Good
Point.
Me. It's a great point.
I like to question all the things I think I know, because here's the thing.
Me too.
I don't necessarily disagree that it's an intelligent presence, but I'm going to question my beliefs. And that's what I think the power of the New Thought philosophy is. And I say it every single Sunday. Question it. Yeah. Don't take it for granted. Don't take what I say with a grain of salt. I'm not here to tell you what to believe. I'm not here to tell you what to think. That is entirely your responsibility. I say it every single Sunday. Yeah. And the power of New Thought for me is that we are encouraged to not devolve into dogma, which is, this is an unquestionable part of our doctrine. You must not question it. And I will question it all. I think it's important that we question it.
I think that's why we have a show called The RANT.
Right. Yes. Lillian has a response. Right? I like intelligent presence because we don't know what the real name of God is. And it just emphasizes that this is an all-knowing energy. If we consider the definition of intelligence as all-knowing, then I can't disagree with that. Sometimes, though, I think we align the notion of intelligence with moving in the direction that we think it should move in. We perceive that as an expression of intelligence. And so I just want us to be really careful about the way in which we are choosing to understand that adjective. And yes, I would say it is an all-knowing presence, because there's nothing that cannot be part of the infinite. Otherwise, it would be finite. Yes.
And one thing from this book that I love, like the prime principle, right? The prime principle is oneness. And like, since reading this book, I'm like that's a new word or a new term for me that I'm been using. Is
the
just
prime principle.
Prime principle.
Yeah.
It's first cause.
Well, and in the unity movement, what we have done, I say they, like I'm not part of it now, but we basically have taken the fundamental principles and we state them in 5. We say that there are 5 basic principles of unity, and that is the prime principle. Principle number 1 is God is all there is. Whatever word you choose to use for it, presence, universal source, creative energy, whatever it is. God is all there is. Nothing else exists. Nothing. Yeah. That's first. Second, the second principle is we are facets of, or we are the expression of that presence and power, because we cannot be separate from it. You know what this is starting to sound like? It's starting to sound like prayer in the form that we teach. God is, we are. We are the identity of the divine. All creation is the identity of
Yes.
the divine, right?
Claim your divine identity.
The third principle is our thoughts, our beliefs, and I like to add in our feelings. Our thoughts, our beliefs, and our feelings are the things that are constructing the expression of our lives.
Mm-hmm.
And so as I believe, it is so. Just like Jesus taught, it is done unto you as you believe. That's the third principle. The fourth principle is the tools we teach to direct our thoughts, our beliefs, and feelings. The primary tools we teach are prayer and meditation.
Yeah.
Right? And then the fifth principle, my favorite, is that we choose. It is a choice to live from the point of view of those previous four principles and to activate them in our lives.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have to, but we choose to. If we are if we are accepting the principles of unity, that's what we're accepting. But we don't have to.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. The law is working whether you believe in it or not.
That's what we teach. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in the chance that it does work, I'm going to practice.
Absolutely. No,
It
does work, and I can direct it.
It does work, and I can direct it.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because what is
I
God?
have evidence of its demonstration through my life.
Yes, because God is good, orderly direction.
Mm-hmm. Yes, good, orderly direction.
Yes. Or
perfect time, perfect
plan.
order, perfect place, perfect space.
Yeah.
The divine. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. I love when we're feisty, Jonathan. I love it.
I know. Our feisty
We're feisty today
are
for sure. For sure. How's everybody doing? How's everybody doing? We have been ranting for some time. How are you? How's everything sitting? Like Audrey, I would love to know. You said, yep, challenge. Would love to know like more about that. What's challenging you? What are you working on? What are you shifting? I would love to know. William has returned from another glorious day of hiking in the Catalina Mountains.
Yes.
Hey, I read that without my glasses because I'm doing actual prayer work for my eyesight, and it's working.
Love it. And if I were, if the light was not blowing out those windows so much, you might be able to see the Catalina Mountains right out there.
Oh, that would be lovely. Lovely.
Yeah.
Should we tell everybody we picked dates? That
we have picked dates.
Pick dates for Steph's coming to Tucson.
Yeah.
Picked them.
Yes.
So what?
Mid-April. Mid-April.
Yeah, coming in April.
Be here. Yes.
So that's going to be fun.
You're going to be here on Palm Sunday.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Are you going to do something for Ash Wednesday?
I haven't really given it too much thought.
Yes.
So no.
Oops, what am I doing here?
Actually, I'll be teaching a prayer class that night based on the book Discover Your Divinity by Marcella Whitsitt and Deanne Weir-Morency.
Yes, it is so good, you guys. And it's a quick read too. If you already are aware of affirmative prayer or spiritual mind treatment, like read this through, and you'll still have highlighted almost every page, the whole page. Like I have been studying spiritual mind treatment, affirmative prayer for 17 years. And I loved her book, How to Pray Without Talking to God. I was like, this book is the best book on prayer I've ever read.
That was her first book.
And then it was like she took that book and then put it in a melting pot and distilled it down even more. Mm-hmm. So you can read 178 pages as someone who knows prayer. Super easy. Just buy this and you'll be like totally refreshed and you'll be inspired once again about affirmative prayer in your life, for sure. Yeah. For sure. Yeah. It's amazing.
And she had always said, when she went to write that book, she said that her thought originally was to do a full contemporary revision of How to Pray Without Talking to God and re-release it How to Pray Without Talking to God. And she kind of started doing that, and she realized, no, this is a completely new book. And I love it. I'm so grateful, so grateful for that. But that was,
It is,
but her last book before this was actually Divine Audacity.
yeah, which I have taught 3 times as well. The Linda Martella Whitsitt. I'm going to meet this woman someday. I love her. She doesn't even know me, but I love her.
Yes.
Divine Audacity, brilliant. Like, I love her writing style. It's so easy from, like, I'm not a big reader. I like big books like The Science of Mind. I have to read every page probably 4 or 5 times to grasp anything on it in, like, at some point in my life. And Linda, just her writing style is so easy. It's an effortless read. It really is. And I appreciate that as someone who, because then I can say, I read a whole book this year. It's 180 pages, but I read a whole book, you know? So, and my goal is to read like 12 whole books this year. So if you have recommendations on books, I tend to stay with my theme of consciousness. You know, I love consciousness studies. Drop what books you're reading. How are you keeping your mind fresh?
I'll tell you the book that we're studying right now in one of my classes. Oh, this is going to blow people's minds. I will tell you, if you are steeped in this philosophy, it's an interesting book that draws a lot of correlations to the philosophy. But the book that we're studying in one of my classes right now is the Everything Answer book by Amit Goswami. And I've studied this book before. I read it several years ago and really took a deep dive into it. And the joke was with those people with whom I was studying this book, we got to the end and we said, he calls it the Everything Answer book. And what it really should be called is It Really Doesn't Answer Anything book.
Yeah.
Because the conceit of the book is the intersection of quantum physics and spirituality. And part of it is, it's all, you know, quantum theory is a theoretical physics kind of paradigm. And if you think you know, you don't. It's one of the first things I will say. And it really doesn't answer anything, but what it is encouraging us to do is to understand that the answers lie within. That's really because we're the ones who give everything meaning. That's essentially what it boils down to. Yeah.
Yeah. I just saw that my mom hearted, and she sent, my phone is downstairs charging, but she did send a rant idea. So we'll cover it next week, maybe.
Okay.
I can't remember it now. Something about deeper understanding of grace. So it will be a good one for sure. I will bring that to the table for us.
Okay. Yeah. Grace is definitely something we should talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I put forth a definition of grace because a lot of people, it's like, what does grace really mean? I put forth a definition of grace many years ago, and I should go dig that up because it got a lot of response. And a lot of, it actually drew a lot of challenge for people. So I'll see if I can find that. I think it was something I posted on Facebook like in 2010.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. 15.
Oh my goodness.
Ago. Can you believe 2010 was 15? Can you believe we're a quarter of the way into this century?
No, I can't.
What happened?
I cannot.
Yeah.
It's because we're time travelers, Jonathan. We have traveled through time, and a whole quarter of a century has passed us by.
Hasn't passed us by. We've been fully immersed in experience.
I have been fully immersed in becoming the moreness of me.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I need a nap after this rant. It's
a good one.
It's been very lively. Yes. Oh, I love this. Okay. So I went off Facebook on Monday and plan to stay off for as long as I can stand to. LOL. Right? It's a choice. I deleted my X account. I deleted it back when it was Twitter.
Yeah, I deleted it a couple of years ago. Mostly because I just didn't use it. And when I would explore X, I was like, yeah, none of this appeals to me.
Yeah, it's not mine. It's not mine.
But you know what, Anita, I know you're off X right now. if you can stand just going on X for just a moment, go look at the post that I put up 2 days ago. Just see what the impulse of, because I had posted I'm leaving Meta platforms, going over to Blue Sky. I did start a Blue Sky account, so I'm posting some stuff there on Blue Sky, but I am making a conscious choice to remain on Facebook, and like I say, flood the space. Flood the space with love, kindness, compassion, mercy, and to not be reactionary.
Yeah. It's good practice, right? If we truly are, practicing unconditional love and acceptance, we have to be out with the people, because it's the people that rub us the wrong way that is going to teach us unconditional love and acceptance. Because I love everybody from right here in my cozy little studio office. And I don't have to leave my house very often. And so when I do, I make sure that I am taking my loving presence with me when I go. Because people are out there.
Yeah. I'm just
What
looking
is
at
Blue Sky?
Blue Sky is another platform. It's similar to Twitter or X. Yeah.
What was that?
I will tell you my
back in
challenge
the
with Blue
90s?
Sky is I don't feel engaged on Blue Sky. Like I look at it sometimes, I'll post stuff sometimes, but I don't feel compelled or engaged to kind of sort through all of the stuff that gets posted there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting though that you said there's too much negativity on Blue Sky. Hasn't been my experience on Blue Sky. Yeah.
I if I'm scrolling, it's probably Instagram, and I'm probably waiting in the car.
Yeah.
If I'm on Facebook, for this, obviously, for the marketplace. I love window shopping. That's all I do on Facebook is window shop. I'm like, oh, that's a nice wardrobe. Would it fit? No, it won't fit. Keep scrolling. Yeah, that's what I do. Yeah, I think that they're not showing some of the content on Facebook. That could be true.
Could be.
Yeah, that could be true.
Yeah. You know, and here's the thing:
there's some choices that have been made or decisions that have been made.
And we are voluntary participants or not in the experience of social media platforms. You know, there's a part of me that was thinking, I just want to be done with social media entirely.
What a world would that be?
And yet, you know, I said this last Sunday. I said, you know, there's actually value in social media if we are choosing to participate in it consciously. You know, that social media, I mean, I think about it. So I'm going to talk about Blessing, right? We are connected to Blessing in Africa. She's not currently in Nigeria, but we became connected with this magnificent presence because of social media. And, you know, she has been an active part of this spiritual community, even though she's never stepped foot physically in our space.
Yeah.
And I think about that. And it's when used purposefully and consciously, we can create community. Is it an excuse for in-person community? No, it doesn't mean that we shouldn't be engaged in in-person community, but it is a corollary to it. And I think that we're the ones who actually create the constructs. If we allow, and that's the thing, we're the ones who allow the negativity to take root in our social media spaces. And that's why I'm saying we can flood the space with creativity, with compassion and grace and mercy and kindness and love.
Yeah, absolutely. It's ours to do. I mean, without social media, One Love Awakening wouldn't be around. We are an online virtual community. And so, I mean, I have not, outside of my sister-in-law, who is a beautiful soul on the board, on the leadership council. It's beautiful souls I've met through Facebook or I think it's been pretty much Facebook the whole time, right? We've been doing Wake Up Say Thank You has been on Facebook for 7.5 years, almost 8, and 7.5 for sure. And so this ministry, it is here because of social media. So I'm going to keep using it because it's this internet, this ether that is between us is being filled with loving prayer 5 days a week. It's being filled with meditations and good nature of the divine throughout. And it's not just me. There are thousands, if not millions of people putting this message out into the world about love. So whether it's I used to say this, whether it's a 3-second video view or someone who stays and watches a whole hour of us, oh my goodness, thank you so much, beloveds. Indeed. But a 3-second, that's in someone's consciousness now. 3 seconds, me saying I love you, me saying I bless you, me saying all good things I want for you, right? So I believe that. I believe that my energy is purposeful and intentional and directive into this internet thing, this web that is invisible and holding us all together. And so absolutely, we can use this as a tool for good in the world.
And so it is.
Yeah. I even, One Love Awaken has even gotten the Facebook like nonprofit grants money. Like they've just gave us some money because we're a nonprofit.
Love that.
Yeah. So, we give everything. We give everything meaning. Yeah. And at the same time, recognizing Anita's comments here. I'm also a very sensitive person, and I intentionally use social media. I do not go looking for stuff I don't want to know about and I don't want to feel into because I feel everything. Yeah. So I get it, and take breaks. I take multiple technology breaks a year, and that's important. So you can have a day where you're just a day a week, no technology, shut it down. The world will continue. You can pick it up again tomorrow.
I have so many thoughts going through my head. We could rant for another hour, I think, very easily. And yet we have come to the end of the time that we allot to this.
Remember when these were 30 minutes?
I do. Now we're like, we can't shut up.
We can't shut up. Oh my God.
Oh my goodness. Steph, I am always grateful for this time with you.
I'm so grateful.
To everyone who watches, I am so grateful for this time with you. And please do let us know what is coming up for you.
Yeah.
Next week, we're going to talk about grace. That clearly is what is going to unfold. But if there's anything that you would like us to talk about, you can always send us an email. There are emails right there on the screen for you to engage with us. So we would love that. Let us know what you want us to talk about. And we'll be back for another rant next week. Patrick Farron, Reverend Dr. Patrick Farron.
Aloha. Aloha and aloha.
Joining us. So there we are.
Anything there we are. Love everybody. Stay connected.
Yeah.
Stay connected because connection is everything.
Indeed it is. I am deeply grateful for this connection.
Yeah. Love everybody. Have an awesome week.
Yeah. We'll see you next week. Who's hitting the button?
I'm pressing the button right now.